I'm joined here today by the one, the only Jared Gordon set take on Chris Fishgold at UFC Fight Island. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for asking. First things first, off the top, we mentioned Fight Island. Are you excited about Fight Island, or are you like some of us a little bit disappointed at what turns out is the island?
I thought we were gonna go to the Bahamas or something, and I was kind of excited because I live in Florida, so it's like really close. Turns out we're going to the Middle East,
Yeah.
um, but no, I'm still really excited. It's going to be an experience, and it's almost like history for MMA. So I'm definitely excited to go.
Were you like the rest of us, where you picture, fighting right near a volcano? We've got Dana White looking at you with the tiki lamps everywhere. You're fighting on the beach. Like, I know Middle East is cool, but I mean, let's be honest, it takes away a little bit.
Yeah, like dinosaurs and like reptilians and stuff running around. I mean, it is what it is. I just want to get in there and fight. So it could be in
Yeah,
my
but listen,
backyard.
yeah, there we go. But listen, with it being in the Middle East, though, I heard last time it was extremely hot. They had air conditioner and stuff, and it didn't work. Is that something that you're thinking about? Is that something that you're kind of prepared for mentally?
Yeah, and it's really hot and humid there, but I also live in a state where it's really hot and humid, and we don't put the AC on in the gym, so it's like pretty it's pretty ridiculous inside the gym when we're training. Like this morning we sparred and there was like puddles of sweat on the floor. It was really hot. It was like 95 degrees, super humid. So it sucks, but I should be pretty acclimated to the feeling.
And so, is there a reason for no AC? Is this like some sort of fighter, mentally, all this stuff, or is it just because AC is expensive?
No, that's just what they do to us. Like, I think they just want us to like get tortured or something. So yeah,
They want to make sure you don't forget about weight cutting while you're sparring, so that's pretty important for sure.
yeah.
All right, but listen, man, you mentioned that you live in Florida, which last time I talked to someone you know quite well, Belal Muhammad, was saying you live all over the United States and that you're neglecting Milwaukee a little bit. Is that accurate?
Blau just misses me, and we have a love affair going on. So he uh he just misses me. We were roommates. We were roommates for like a year and a half, and I decided to make the move to Florida. So he just misses me, but that's his problem.
Oh, damn. I think the fans also miss you guys too.
Uh,
Like when like just hearing this now, like a part of me, like my heart broke like right when I heard that.
yeah, I know. We were definitely good to the fans. We always interact with them, and we always playing jokes on each other, stupid stuff. Yeah, I really miss him too. He's a great guy, great fighter. More importantly, just great friend. So yeah, I miss being with him, but I got to do what I got to do. So
That's right. Were you with the guys that I think it was in last time they went to Abu Dhabi and they played that joke on Paul Felder where he met the Sheik or who it was? Were you a part of that?
yeah, I was standing behind Bilal. I think he was holding the camera, and we made the whole like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Meanwhile, the guy that the Arabic guy, uh, he's like super Americanized. He speaks English with he doesn't even have an accent,
Yeah.
and so it was pretty funny. Like when Bilal was like, "Oh, you gotta kiss him." Like you saw Paul's face. He was like, "Really?"
Yeah.
So it was pretty funny. I was there for that, definitely.
Uh, I don't know how you guys held that together because I saw the video recently and I was just dying laughing because even Paul's face, like he's taking it so seriously and you can tell everybody's just like, looking at him like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was hysterical. I loved it. It was great.
All right, let's talk about this fight with Chris Fishgold a little bit. Obviously, I believe since he's from England, that's why this is taking place on the mystical Fight Island. What was your reaction when you got the call that this guy you were taking on?
I said yes right away. I kind of knew who he was. I watched one or two of his fights live when they were happening live. I think it's a great matchup stylistically, and yeah, I was super excited. It's an island. I've been dying to fight. I was supposed to fight May 16th, but my opponent pulled out. So yeah, I'm just excited to get in there.
And so, how was that quarantine period for you? Were you able to train like you wanted to? Were you inside eating Cheetos like some people? How'd you survive that sort of period?
No, so I mean, I was training hard the whole time. We were, sneaking around doing workouts in the park or certain places, different times. Our schedule was changing, but we made do. And luckily for us, Florida was like one of the first states to open up, so we got back in there. And actually, you know what? I I took it as time to get down in weight. Uh, of course, I'm going to featherweight now. So no, I didn't. I wasn't eating Cheetos, unfortunately, but I took the time to get better.
And so, with you being in Florida, I mean, we saw the cards in Jacksonville. Is there a reason why you weren't on there? Or did just everybody forget to contact you?
Well, I was supposed to fight May 16th, and I was gonna
That's
fight
right.
in Jacksonville once they rescheduled. Where we were fighting, but then my opponent pulled out like 2 weeks before, so it wound up not happening. And they offered me a couple of guys. I said yes to most of them. I said no to one guy. Uh, but it just never happened because of people weren't going to make weight or whatever the case was.
And so, something I am curious about, because when fighters or when fans hear that fighters, they don't accept fights, something like that, it's automatically, they're professional fighters, but they're scared. What's kind of the reason for not taking a fight? Like, is it because it doesn't make sense for your career, ranking wise? Like, what kind of goes into that thinking?
So I was supposed to fight Matt Sales, who was like 5'7", right-handed fighter with a specific style, and then they offered me Sean Woodson, um, who's complete opposite, 6'3",
Right. Yeah.
changes his stance, completely different fighter, and it was on 2 week notice. So I was like, at this point in my career, I think I got to make smart decisions, treat it like a business. Uh, but then they offered me two other guys, and I said yes to them, but they both weren't able to make the limit of 45, so it never happened. But yeah, I think, if you're going to have longevity and be smart, which is something that I necessarily wasn't doing earlier, then yeah, you have to fight certain people at certain times to make things work out for you. It's not. I know I'm tough. I'm not scared to fight anyone. I,
Right. Yeah.
I fought some pretty tough guys um, in the past. So I mean, it has nothing to do with being afraid or scared. It's just making
Right.
smart choices. So.
And so, you mentioned the move to 145. What's the kind of the thinking behind 145?
Well, I was supposed to be back down to 45 before I fought Joaquim Silva, but then I moved to Rufus Sport, and Duke didn't want me to cut the weight. So I was like, all right, I guess I got to trust my coaches. I stayed at 55. I had some ups and downs. Um, but now, after my last fight, everyone that I'm fighting is bigger than me. I fought
Right.
Oliveira. He's like 5'11" with a 75-inch reach. I fought before that Dan Moret. He's like 6'1" or something like that. I fought Diego Ferreira. The guy's got like a 75-inch reach, way bigger than me size-wise. By the time we get in the cage, this guy looks, he's like the size of a gorilla. Um, and I fought Joaquim Silva, who looks like a bodybuilder year-round, way bigger than me. So I was like, what, when guys are, when they're not as technically good as me, I can win technique-wise. But when they're really big and they're also really good, it's like, where do I find the advantage? So, I decided, all right, this is it. I'm going back to 45.
And as the time we're speaking, it looks like the beard and the hair are looking very short. We know during quarantine, everybody sort of had their different strategies. Are we looking at a quarantine cut, or is this sort of like a decision that came natural?
No, I shaved mine about a year ago, but I've been just keeping it short, and it's just so easy, training. I just shave my head on my own, so I don't have to go to a barber and spend money every week on a barber. It's like so, and it's just super easy. I go in the shower, I buzz it with my Gillette shaver, and then that's it. I'm ready to go.
Right. So have you been tempted to go at it straight bald, like with the shaving cream and everything, or
No,
are you trying to stay strong?
no, not yet. Definitely
For
not yet.
sure. Listen, man, this fight with Chris Fishgold, what does this do for you in your career? Because we know he was a hype prospect coming from England. Obviously, people from England have a certain kind of hype. What does that do for you if you go out there and you put on an impressive showing?
Well, I will, and I mean, I think it's just he's 1-2 in UFC, and I'm 3-3. We both had some ups and downs, so I got I got to go in there and I got to win and, you know, prove that I belong, which I know I do. I've had some really dominant performances in the UFC against guys that have had, you know, way more fights than me, way more UFC fights than me. And, you know, I think at 55, I was just outsized and, you know, had some personal issues during fights, some injuries. I shouldn't have fought certain times, but that's neither here nor there. But if I'm going to be a champion, which is obviously the goal, then, yeah, I got to go out there and put on an impressive performance. So.
And you mentioned some of the matchups a little bit. I'm curious about your last fight because you fought Charles Oliveira, and it seems like it's kind of a weird matchup because he fought Kevin Lee recently. They're talking about having him fight for the belt and stuff like that. What was kind of going on with that matchmaking? 'Cause it seems a little bit strange when you kind of look at that situation.
So I was fighting Leo Santos, but a week after signing the contract, he pulled out of the fight, and they couldn't get Oliveira a fight because he was on like a 5-fight winning streak, all finishes, and he was fighting in his hometown in Sao Paulo. So anyone that was ranked ahead of him was like, "No, I'm good," and people that were ranked a little before him were like, "No, I'm good." So when they were like, "You're gonna fight Leo Santos, who is a dangerous, tall striker, really good jiu-jitsu guy, same style almost as Oliveira," I was like, "Well, if I'm gonna fight this guy, I might as well fight Oliveira." So, you know, I was back to not, you know, I said yes. Okay, let's do it. And then I had the opportunity of, you know, if I won, I was going to be ranked, but didn't go my way. But that was supposed to happen that way because if I won, I would have been ranked. I wouldn't be able to go down to 45. So, and then after that, who do I fight? After you beat someone like Oliveira and you're ranked, everyone in the top 15 at 55 are monsters, and they're all huge. These guys are way bigger than me, and they're all super technical. So, like, where do I find the advantage? So I truly believe that it was supposed to happen that way. I was supposed to lose so I can make the full, you know, commitment to 45, and then I made the move to Florida to be with my fiance. She lives down here, so I decided to move here full time, make things easier for us, and here I am.
All right, listen, one last question, kind of an easy one. I'm sure you're going to hear it a million times, so you've got something ready for it. But how do you see yourself getting your hand raised against Fishgold at UFC Fight Island?
I think I'm going to go out there and show off some new striking skills that I've learned from Henry Hoofton. I think that my grappling is better, and I think I'm better everywhere. So, but I see myself winning on the ground, probably ground and pound or submission. I don't know what round though.
All right, man. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. Obviously, you know that. Thanks so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem, Lucas. Thank you.